Good evening, listeners. Welcome to the CR Centre Community Stadium at the Lamb. Just poised for kick-off. Referee checking with all his officials and both goalkeepers. And we are just about to be underway, slightly later than planned, for this FA Trophy first qualifying round replay between Tamworth and Gainsborough Trinity. We are underway. So, for Tamworth, in goal, Jazz Singh. 2, Christian Green. 3, Jordan Goff. 4, Ryan Bezic, he's the captain. 5, Joel Kettle. 6, Charlie Jemson. 7, Paul Green. 8, Armand Verma. 9, Chris Lake. 10, Joe Magunda. 11, Tyrell Waite. On the bench for the Lambs this evening, Keegan Townrow, Aidan James, Steph Moore, Tristan Dunkley and Akwasi Asante.
I know Chris Lake's been under a lot of criticism recently, being somewhat out of favour and dumped into the under-21s. As we speak, he's on the ball now, jinking on the edge, he gets a shot off, and it's in the back of the net! Tamworth take the lead. 4 minutes into the game, and right across the front of Marcus Dewhurst to the inside of the far post. And as we were saying, he's been under so much criticism recently for performances, and I think that goal meant something to him, Kev.
Well, it was a completely different celebration to the goal he scored against AFC Wolfrunians in the Cup.
At the minute, it's all Tamworth really, isn't it, Kev?
And at the minute, it's worth coming out on a freezing cold night for. Well, here do come Gainsborough now. Worsfold right to the 18-yard box across the Tamworth goal. It's just about dealt with. The first meaningful attack for Trinity, and he's been hacked away out for a throw-in on that far side by the clubhouse. Christian Green. Oh, poor pass by the fullback. It was intended for Paul Green, but it was short. And the Gainsborough midfielder nipped in. Broke up that latest Tamworth move. Jemson slides one forward to Verma, who gets a good old shove in the back. No free kick given. Play on, says the referee. And eventually, free kick conceded by Gainsborough for a foul on Chris Late. Yeah, I'd agree with that one. Goff's ball towards the far corner of the 18-yard box is heading out initially, but back in. Lumped up into the box. He's bouncing around in there, and Dewhurst comes and collects on his 6-yard line ahead of Tyrell Waite.
I'm a bit bamboozled by that one.
It was a strange one. So Gainsborough will restart 2 yards into their own half with Jamie Turey. Loads that towards the edge of the Tamworth box, headed out by Paul Green, headed back by Shane Clark. Half chance on the edge of the box, he smacked the bar! Justin got something on it, and Joel Kettle was alert to put the rebound out for a corner. What a fantastic effort on goal that was. They've had a decent start in the equivalent league to Tamworth this season, the Northern Premier, and until the last 2 games, which they lost to South Shields and Scarborough Athletic, who Scarborough are top and South Shields were top 6, and they lost them both 1-0. They've done really well. Ball into a Tamworth box, and that was a chance for Worsfold at the back post. Head in hands moment as he stretched to get onto the end of that cross, and well, it has to be said that Tamworth are fortunate really to be in the lead.
Yeah, that was a really good chance there for Gainsborough to get back on level terms.
The Tamworth have probably had slightly the better of the possession throughout the half, but not really created any clear-cut chances, and it's just a continuation really of where we've been over the last few games. Here comes Chris Late, goes for the shot, that's deflected off the heels, and a chance, and it's smashed into the far corner by Tyrell Waite. It's 2-1 to Tamworth. What a great finish, a thumping finish. And here is Waite again. He's set off down that left-hand side. He's just checked back to wait for support. Kept the ball really well. He's got Late in attendance now. Late swings it into the box. Headed out. Chris Late there. I just watched him over the pattern of the last couple of minutes in particular, where he's just working so hard. And it's so evident to see him do that when it wasn't there earlier in the season for whatever reason. I know he come back from a particularly bad hip injury. Yeah. How much that affected him, I don't know. But Dennis Green is certainly getting a tune out of him.
He really is.
There is the half-time whistle, listeners. And at the break, it is Tamworth 2, Gainsborough Trinity 0. So, underway for this second half. Yeah, it certainly looked that way. And Verma appeals for holding there, and I must say, it looked like he had a case, but Gainsborough come away with the ball. Poor pass across field by Johnny Marr, gets his intercepted by Jordan Goff, and Tamworth are on the attack down the left-hand flank by the clubhouse. Here comes Tyrell Waite, a few step-overs, back across goal, and it's hacked away. They claim for a penalty, but nothing given for Tamworth as Jordan Goff in an advanced position. He went tumbling, and I've seen them given, and eventually the referee does blow, and there's a melee now in the middle of the pitch. It's all cracking off here, Stuart Bywater.
Yeah, and Armand Verma tried to walk away from that one, and he was followed by Nathan Stainfield.
And just confirmation that Nathan Stainfield is booked along with Tamworth's Armand Verma. Well, let's just leave it at that, shall we, Stuart?
Yeah.
Tamworth trying to mount an attack down this right-hand side. Good interchange between Green and Waite. And what's interesting to see there is that Waite tried the fancy spin on the ball, which is his party trick and so often works. He was intercepted, but he then sprinted 30 yards to put the Gainsborough player under pressure, and in the end Tamworth got the throw-in. And that's exactly the sort of work rate that you want to see, and Dennis Green will be delighted with. Throw-in taken up to Tristan Dunkley, low centre of gravity, turns away from his man. Stainfield again is there.
Unless it's just the case of that we're in a 2-0 lead with 10 minutes to go and it's giving him some minutes.
Well, to be fair, Stuart, he was brought in for this reason, wasn't he?
Yes.
And he did end up playing a couple of full games almost, but crossing by late is spilt by Dewhurst and palmed away. There's that man Kettle again, heading back from Dewhurst's clearance. Gainsborough get the ball into the feet of Worsfold. Back to Gordon, the fullback. Infield to Russell, back to Stainfield. Trying to keep possession now. Across the pitch to Turi. Just checks inside his man. He waited for Late to commit to the slide tackle. And that slide pass down the channel between the Tamworth centre-back and full-back Goff goes out of play for a goal kick to Tamworth. Back to the goalkeeper, Singh, who then goes long back to where that came from, up to Tyrell Waite, who controls of sorts, has to slide into the second ball, but still doesn't win it back. But great work rate there, it has to be said, on a crunching tackle by Jordan Goff there, 5 yards into the Trinity half. Even though both feet were, well, he wasn't studs up, but it was a perceived lack of control. So yellow card for Jordan Goff.
3 minutes of normal time left to go in this one, Kev. And so far, Tamworth protecting the ball well.
Ball forward finds Tyrell Waite, is onside. He'd run from an onside position. Ball across the box is stabbed clear.
Tamworth won a corner. For once, it's us that can wind the clock down.
Russell forced into keeping that one from rolling out for a goal kick. Does well, but his clearance finds Late from range. Oh, what a goal! Fantastic effort from Chris Late from fully 30 yards into the top corner. Dewhurst no chance. Well, I really hope that you can see the highlights of that goal, because that's a goal of the season contender, Stuart.
That was an absolute sucker punch that came from nowhere.
But that is the icing on the cake for Chris Late especially.
Tyrell Waite has left the field and Keegan Townrow has replaced him. So a defender for a striker, Kev. Or a striker for a defender, whichever way around it is.
Absolutely, and that's earned Tyrell Waite his standing ovation and warm applause from the shed, and he's up there as well for me, Stuart, with you say Chris Late man of the match for yourself, and I would agree. But overall the whole squad have just worked harder. There's a keenness to defend their own goal. Big cheers around the Lamb. There is the final whistle. Tamworth into the next round of the FA Trophy, and well deserved over the 2 games, Stuart, as well.